Please come give a warm round of applause for Nizzar, Juliana, Michael, Gabe, Dario, and Aniko.
Hello, guys. Hi. Thank you so much for receiving us today. I'm a punk, I'm an ape, I'm a V-friend, I'm a crypto citizen, I'm an NFT lover. My name is Nizzar Chekroune, and I am thrilled to be here today with some faces that you may or may not know, but are very impactful in our industry. Before introducing you to these amazing people, I'd like to have a thought for Perrine Hyderi, an amazing artist who was supposed to be with us. She is very involved into the Iranian problem that we are facing today with women who are trying to get rid of their own evil. And she couldn't be here with us today, so our love and heart goes with her and all the Libanian women. We also have a deep thought for Gab Vase, who is the founder of Stoic NFTs, who was supposed to be with us, but for some domestic issues couldn't be here with us, so our love is for him as well. So I tried to do my best to gather the Ferraris of NFTs in terms of collecting and community, and try to have people representing the industry. So we have Juliana Cossa, who is a collector. We have Michael Litman, who will represent the community, and he's a community member, very involved, knows kind of everybody, and everybody knows him and loves him. We have Dario de Siena, which also happens to be the first artist that I collected in my life.
Same.
And yeah, same for you? Yeah, that's one of my questions. Do you have a Dario?
I've ruined it already.
Yeah, so he's an OJ, and he was not sure to be here because it was like, oh, do I belong? And I said, no, you don't belong. You have to be here. We need you. You are the voice of what we're building today. So I'm really glad to have you here, Dario, today, and thank you so much for joining us. You have Aniko Berman. She is my friend. She represents a lot of artists, and she's gonna be bigger than I can imagine, and then she can imagine a few years from now representing the biggest artists in the industry. So I'll be sitting, and I'll start doing what I have to do, which is questioning them. The thing is that we won't go to a discussion. It will be more of each and every one of them telling us about their feeling and how they deal with their industry, and to give you a broader idea on how artists should start with community first to build their future and gather around. So, Juliana, how are you doing? Good?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Great. Michael, good?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Dario?
Amazing, thank you.
Aniko?
Excellent.
Amazing. So we'll start with Dario. We start with the artists. So Dario, first of all, can you introduce yourself? Like, time is our enemy today, so we have 25 minutes. So, Dario.
Yeah, so I'm Dario de Siena. I'm a Swiss painting artist coming from the physical art space, and I'm coming from Switzerland, Zurich, and entered the NFT space 1.5 years ago. And yeah, really happy to be here.
Great. How did you build your community? Because many artists today need to understand, how do we build a community? This is a question I receive like once a week. Where do I start?
So, I mean, like, start by yourself and the closest people around you, which help you always to support and, yeah, which care about you. And from there you can expand this to friends from them. And today, as we all, mostly of us using Clubhouse or Twitter Spaces, there is always time to introduce another person. So what we did, or what I did, was like, you support others, that the support gets back, and so on. So it doesn't take it does take time. So it's not from today to tomorrow you build a big community. But I think in this space there are many possibilities to grow something really special, because you are just like digital and all over the world. For me as a Swiss artist, it's really hard to get out of my little comfort zone. Being in Switzerland, try to get out in the whole world is really difficult for me. So I think this space helped me a lot to build my being as an artist in the whole world and connect with my collectors and my community much more.
Amazing. How long would that take you to be in this stage? Like when did you feel you were starting building your community? How many years from now?
How many years from now?
Yeah, when did you feel you were starting building a community? 10, 20 years from now? 5 years from now? When?
I mean, I started like mostly social, like maybe some collectors from the physical exhibitions or something, which bought something from me, but that's not really community. It's more people who really like your art and like to buy it. It's a really different thing in this space. Like there are fans, there are collectors, there are friends, and everything together builds your community. And I do this over a long time on Instagram. And I was starting in this space with like 7 followers on Twitter, and everybody told me, you need to go on Twitter. So I started on Twitter, start from scratch, just did what I normally do, share my passion, and I try to share it with everything and everyone. So yeah, and now I'm 1.5 years later, I have like 40K followers, don't know why, but it was working out. So
we know why. And I'll try to take like a second to say so. You said you started with 7 followers, and maybe 2 years later, you're 40,000 followers. So people don't have to chase like that 500,000 followers or 1 million followers to be impactful in this industry. And we all start from zero. And by working, by having a voice, by sharing your passion, and by being patient, you will end up having your own community and talking about your art. Are you yourself a collector? Do you collect NFTs?
yes, I collect NFTs as well.
Okay. So what are your favorite NFTs? Collectibles, art, or?
I think my favorite ones is the art from smaller artists who entered the space, because my intro in this space was really like I had no idea, I had no expectation what will happen. And when it starts to happen and you make your first sales and you realize the people are caring much more than others, like in the whole world, about what you're doing, and they can push you. So I like to translate this to smaller artists who enter the space, to give them the same emotions, basically. So that's, I think, one of the biggest thing I really like, because I don't have to flip this. It's just for me. Even if it's going to zero, it's art, so it's always holding value for me. And I'm also a punk owner. I also minted Bored Apes in the beginning, and many different things, from doodles to cool cats. And yeah, I'm.
But collecting NFTs, did that help you grow your community? Collecting these type of NFTs, did that help you?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, so I started with the Bored Apes, and I did like just derivatives out of my Bored Apes I hold. And like after 1-2 weeks, there was like 50 different requests of Bored Apes to draw them. So basically, it was really helpful, yeah.
Okay. One last question. This one was taken from Twitter. We played a game. So we asked people on Twitter, what kind of question would you like to see on stage? And we will quote you. So this one comes from Great Junk. Sorry, that's his nickname. So he's asking, can you give us a broad idea of the revenue you generated within the last 2 years? Don't think taxes, just
the revenue, which is like the traded volume on OpenSea?
yeah,
or
something like that.
in total?
Yeah.
2,500 ETH.
Okay. So 2 years from now, started with 7 followers, 40,000 today. How many ETH? 20,000 ETH, you said? 2,000 ETH.
2,500 ETH traded.
2,500 ETH traded. And you were the cover of art on OpenSea many times, right?
Yeah, in the beginning, like over 1 week, it was
Amazing. Thank you so much,
honor.
Dario.
Thank you too.
I'll come back with another question later on. I'll go with Michael, not for being rude and going from a man to a woman or whatever, but that's logical to go from the artist to the community and the collector and the representative. So how are you doing? You said you were doing fine.
Doing amazing.
Great.
Great to see so many people here today.
Can you introduce yourself quickly?
Yeah, so I'm Michael Litman. I work at an agency called Media Monks. We are a big communications agency with over 9,000 people around the world. I work in the innovation team focused on Web3, NFTs, and metaverse projects. I got my sort of earlier break outside of work and was an anon last year, helping set up the Meebits DAO project. So the Meebit that you see on my profile picture, that was one of my first NFTs, but my first artist NFT was actually Dario. And he was the first artist that I bought into, and it's quite amazing for me actually coming full circle to buying the art and now being on the panel with him. So I'm super blessed to be here. Thank you.
Okay.
Amazing.
Thank you.
When things are well done is when you answer a question before I ask it. This is when we're connected. So so you're making my life a nightmare right now because I don't know how will be the next question. So no, what?
I can continue talking.
No, not. Time is our enemy. So no, the next question would be, what is your favorite community? Where do you feel your safe place, and why?
So I come at it from a brand perspective, but also an artist point of view. So from a brand POV, I love timepieces as a community by a brand, and also the Jump community for marketers is amazing and very welcoming and warm. From an artist perspective, I love Warhodl and Dario and Vinny Hager, and from a sort of PFP project perspective, I think what Doodles is doing is amazing. I love the Meebits. I will always be long Meebit. And I think there's a bunch of communities out there. More recent, for example, Nihilings has been becoming quite a sort of hot. But I think for me, communities are ones that have longevity and sort of longer term roadmap thinking, rather than, I'm not really interested in this sort of flipping and pump and dump. That's not my vibe. I'm much more empathized with the art aspect, which is I buy it because I like it rather than I want to sell it. So that's where I think I'm sort of a community collector, in that I'm not here for the flip.
And where do you have these discussions with other community members? What are the platforms that you use most? And
it's a blessing and a curse. There are so many channels. We have Telegram, WhatsApp, Discord, Twitter. Am I missing any?
what's your
Slack.
favorite then? What's your favorite then?
My favorite, I have a real love-hate relationship with Discord. So it feels absolutely necessary to be in Discord for projects, but I find it too overwhelming. And I'm in probably 200 servers in Discord, and I probably look at 3 to 5 of them. So that for me is a real big problem for me personally. The ones that are my favorite, I just seem to always gravitate back to Twitter. Twitter Spaces has really eaten Clubhouse's lunch, and that has become a much more kind of safe space, I think, for me. I know Twitter has problems with Elon Musk, etc., but I won't go into those. But then WhatsApp was actually where we engaged.
Yeah, they just announced the community part today.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to be a good thing, or another problem of another problem that we already had on the space?
I think Meta is having interesting challenges in breaking out WhatsApp and having community there. They're looking at community back into, reinventing Facebook groups as well. And Instagram is now becoming the place where you will be able to connect your wallet, and you'll be able to actually have digital collectibles to display on Instagram, which is going to be huge. There's billions of people using Instagram which have no clue about NFTs. So I feel like that is actually going to be a huge onboarding moment in the future.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Michael. I'll jump directly to Juliana. Can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, so I'm Juliana Cossa. I've been collecting for almost 2 years now. I was introduced to the NFT space by Nizzar. He's my business partner, so we've been working together ever since, even though we know each other for a while now. So other than collecting, I always try to understand what's the usage of it, what's the tech behind it, and how is it helping the artistic community at the beginning, and then maybe exploring ways to use it in other industries. I recently joined the United Nations team and trying to explore NFTs and Web3 applications on how to make social impact great through these tools. So yeah, I think that is.
Okay, so that part of your new direction going with United Nations, would that bring artists into the...
Absolutely, absolutely, yes, of course. I mean, there's this whole thing about what's the mission of the collection itself, but then how it is represented and who is representing the collection is very important. So this is also a tribune, like a window for the artists, and more than a window, it's the perfect match is really important. Who is going to be represented these values? How are these people going to be putting this to the world? Because the facial, or before the community, the NFT itself is really important. So how are they translating the values of the NGO or whatever SDG we're going to be working with within the artwork? Yeah.
And how do you choose an artist? Like, do you own a Dario?
I do. Again, my first. So this is very interesting because it's a good way to explain what's my process, and it would be really like, first of all, do I like it or not? Is the art great? So the first thing is really subjective. There's nothing to explain. There's no process about it. And once this filter is passed, then obviously because it's digital and it's new, I do a little bit of research on who is the person, do I like what he does, and how is he connected to the community? Does he understand NFTs, or is he just using the NFT as like a support because it's trendy and because this is how people are doing? And first thing I saw is he was a punk. I had a punk too, so I was like, yeah, so he understands that he's not only doing this for the flip, he's within the community and he knows how it works. So he's probably also going to be working with his art like the NFT space is wanting to. So yeah, first one is, do I like it or not? And second is, how is the artist behaving in the community and what are the values that they are sharing?
So to sum it up, subjectively you choose because you like or not the art. That's the first part.
Yeah, that's it.
Second part is how committed to the community he is, and his profile picture might help you understand his commitment.
Yeah, more than the profile picture, what does he collect? How does he behave in the space? Because let's be honest, if you were here 2 years ago, a punk would be affordable. For now, I wouldn't judge an artist because he has or not a punk, of course. But then how does he behave? What does he collect? We can kind of understand a little bit of the person and the profile of the person, whoever person it is, an artist or another, on the NFTs that they have. It's like our ID card. Like, so okay. He supports this project, he likes this artist, and all this kind of things.
So that being said, what would be your favorite piece of art and why? And after that, I'll go to...
yeah, my favorite one is certainly Charlie Palmer, the one that he made for Timepiece, for several reasons. First one is because I like the art. I think it's beautiful. Second is because Charlie is a very beautiful soul, a nice artist, and I love the values that he shares. And then because Time is doing a great job also. They are not only here for the hype. They're not only doing this for the trade. They're really building. Keith Grossman is really building it. It's not like a PR effect. Yeah. He's really building for the community and for the artists. And I think this is really good, like really putting the artists in evidence, whichever project they're building.
Yeah, thank you so much. I cannot but double that and say how much Keith, and you told about timepieces as well, Michael, how much Keith was and is a strong asset and value for the whole community because he's building with us, for us, and we need more people like him. So our love for Keith. Gary V is doing the same kind of thing in another...
Should we mention Seth also from Crypto Citizen?
Oh yeah, Seth Goldstein. And yeah, Seth Goldstein, Crypto Citizens, Bright Moments, they are, and we were there in New York City to see what they were doing with artists. So could you, Aniko, tell us more about who you are, what you do?
Sure, thank you for having me. I'm Aniko Berman. I do artist management for Web3 artists. I also host a bi-weekly Twitter Spaces focusing on Web3 artists, and I'm an advisor to Dot Connector, which is a decentralized lifestyle brand that's started in New York City, but we're gonna run the world soon.
Great. So my question would be, how do you choose artists? Like, what would be the criteria to choose to work with this artist against another one?
Sure. So I actually start. Obviously, there's going to be a visual connection I have to have, but it's actually more important for me that I like the person, and that it's someone I want to work with and want to spend my time focusing on. And with that is just sort of, an interpersonal dynamic, but also, is it someone who's going to be a partner with me? So when I work with artists, I'm not their boss. I'm also not their assistant. Like, we're partners. We have to work together to seek out opportunities, to strategize together. I want to work with someone who's going to be doing that with me and sort of be in like be at the helm with me. And is there a vision? Is there coachability? Is there kindness? Is there empathy? Is there drive?
This is very special, and I'm really, really happy that you're here, because we're gonna talk about something which is a fantasy in blockchain and Web3. We think that we're gonna kill all the middlemen, which is impossible. We're just gonna create a new middleman with a proof through blockchain so that it gets cleaner. So you basically become a new type of middleman between artists and industries that want to build with these artists. Is that right?
Yeah, I agree with that. So my background's in the traditional art world. So I was a gallery director, and I left that world because I felt like the model is broken. There's no trust. People don't know how to really engage with each other in a way that actually maximizes value. And so I think traditional gallerists can bring a lot of value to artists. They can provide infrastructure, promotion, evangelize. They can bring collectors to the artists. They can put on exhibitions. That's a lot. But often gallerists are shitty people, and artists feel, not all of them, a lot of them are amazing and wonderful and have changed the world, and I've worked for some of those people, but some of them are just there to make a buck, and that's not the right kind of middleman. But I think in Web3 you can create a sort of a trustless dynamic through technology that actually is very maximizes value for all parties, right? I think that whether you're an artist, whether you're a human being, it takes a team of people around you to make you who you are. And I don't think that changes in Web3. It just makes it amplifies that in the best possible way.
Great. I smiled, and I think you've seen me. Yeah, they're shitty. Yeah, I agree. And I believe you do as well, and you as well. So yeah, we try to change these kind of things. And my last question for the last 57 seconds would be, Meta is introducing the fact that we can now buy and sell NFTs.
Right.
Will you encourage your artists to go through these type of platforms? And if so, why?
Yeah, I think actually Meta has done a lot of really good things for creators in Web3, and I've worked with artists that have been really promoted, and I think it's wonderful. I think Meta is very smart to do it, because I think social media is one of the most powerful tools for Web3 artists to gain an audience, build community, and so Meta is very smart for inserting themselves and making themselves maybe the keepers of that, but in a way that's really positive. I think that Web3 is not about zero sum. It's about maximizing value for all parties and finding the Pareto efficient frontier. And I think you could look at Meta's move like that as doing that.
Thank you so much. We couldn't be more perfect. 3 seconds, 2
3
seconds,
seconds.
1 second. We wish we could have more minutes to talk about this, and we would like to thank all the people that helped us to be here today at NFT NYC. We've been there in New York City. We're here now. We'll be there in New York City again. So thank you so much. Guys, thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Cameron. Thank you, Quinn, for helping us being here. Thank you, Jody, as well. So yeah, we look forward to see you again. And if you don't mind, we're going to take a selfie here
Obviously.
on stage. And then we'll drop the mic.
Thank you.